Big topic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That there. That way. Okay. And I promised I'd give her a minute when she. I can't see her. Mhm. Yeah, I talked louder earlier. Okay. Welcome to this forum for the Berkeley City Council election. Today is September 24th, 2025. This forum will be featuring the 5 candidates who have filed for Berkeley City Council. Vote for 3 for a 4-year term. Sponsor of this forum is the League of Women Voters, Oakland area. I am Christine Allen, a member of the League of Women Voters. I am not a resident of this district. The League of Women Voters is a trusted, national, nonpartisan political organization. Our members do the hands-on work to safeguard democracy. While we never endorse a candidate, we are directly involved in shaping important issues that keep our community strong. As a League of Women Voters member, I have the opportunity to contribute in a leadership role, such as this one, that has great impact on local, state, and even national issues. If you are interested in learning about how you can make a similar impact, I would encourage you to visit our website at lwvoa.org. The League of Women Voters does not endorse any candidate or political party. Views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates, and sponsors take no responsibility. The format for this forum has been established by the League of Women Voters. We ask that the audience remain silent during the forum. Please turn off all cell phones. We ask that the candidates answer the questions with their views only and not interrupt other candidates. The questions are asked to all candidates and do not single out any one candidate. All candidates will be answering questions submitted by the audience and screened for duplication and appropriateness by Jerry Rentschler. Our page, Mary Schusterbauer and Kathleen McNellis, will be circulating with paper and pencils for your questions. Please turn in your questions to the pages. The format is as follows. All candidates will be given 1 minute for opening statements in alphabetical order. Closing statements will be 1 minute in reverse order. Candidates will have 1 minute to answer each question in rotation unless extended by the moderator. All candidates will be allowed equal time to answer questions. Our timer is Maria Willison. The candidates are Steve Baker, Gary Elrod, Dennis Hennon, Josh Stapp, and Catherine Wade. Catherine Wade is not here this evening. She's not able to be here, but I will read her statement during opening comments. We will begin the 1 minute opening statements with Mr. Baker.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for graciously hosting tonight's forum. And to those who are observing, I wish you a safe and healthy Rosh Hashanah. I'm Steve Baker, and I've been proud to call Berkley home for 26 years, I'm sorry. I've been on council for 16 years. And in that time, I married my wife, who is a former art teacher, and my stepdaughter is a junior at Berkley High School. During that time on council, I've helped lead the Coolidge Highway Safety Program, brought EV chargers to our city, and worked diligently to deliver a balanced budget every year while protecting core services. There's more work ahead on infrastructure, our safe and walkable neighborhoods, and community spaces, and I look forward to leaning into those challenges and opportunities. Thank you for your trust in re-electing me over the years. I'm excited about Berkley's future, and I look forward to tonight's questions and conversation.
Thank you. Mr. Elrod?
Hi, I'm Gary Elrod. I'm running for Berkley City Council, and thank you also to the League of Women Voters for hosting this. Thank you for the participants who've showed up today. Participation is the first thing, or the foundation of our democracy. So just to quickly introduce myself, I'm a 15-year resident, 3 stints. One time as a high school student, my parents moved from a 1-story flat in Ferndale so that I could go to Berkley High School and enjoy that experience. The second time as a renter, so I've had that experience as well. That landscape has changed. I hope that is maybe one of the questions we answer regarding housing in the missing middle. And then now as a permanent resident, homeowner from 2017 to today. So entering my 40s and 50. I am now back for my 3rd stint and looking to increase the public service that I can provide to the city that I love. And I think the next natural step from volunteering is city council.
Thank you. Mr. Hennon?
It's 2 a.m. in the morning. Rain is pouring down. Thunder rumbles in the distance. I'm alone, prowling through Berkley's parking lots, illuminated only by my truck's headlights. It looks like I'm up to no good. I'm sure the police are going to show up at any moment. But what I'm really doing is counting cars. I want to make sure I have hard data about apartment parking so I can make an informed decision that will protect neighborhoods. And that's just one example of the lengths I go to. For 8 years on council, I've shown up, done the homework, and delivered for Berkley. We've seen the results: a more transparent and responsive government, rising property values, new energy on Coolidge, investment in our infrastructure, and projects like Slow's Barbecue and the Berkley Theater. My focus is simple: open communication, smart spending, and strong services while protecting Berkley's small town feel.
Thank you. Mr. Stapp?
Yeah, good evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight's forum, and to all of you for taking the time to be here this evening. My name is Josh Stapp, and I'm running for Berkley's City Council. When my family and I were buying our first home, like so many of you, we were drawn to Berkley for its small town charm, its great schools, and its high level of city services. And after we moved in, we were embraced by our neighbors, and we found out firsthand why Berkley is known as a community that's safe, welcoming, and vibrant. But like any great city, Berkley has its share of challenges. As an attorney with a background in state and local government, I've experienced navigating complex issues and balancing competing interests. Here in Berkley, I also serve on the Planning Commission, where I put practical problem-solving skills to use for our community. I'm excited to run for City Council and for the opportunity to work with our city officials and our residents to offer a fresh perspective to the local government.
Thank you. And I have the statement from Catherine Wade. Good evening, I'm Catherine Wade. I'm sorry I couldn't be here in person tonight. I am unfortunately under the weather, but I'll watch the recording and share my responses as soon as I'm better. I've lived in Berkley since before the first Dream Cruise, raised my son here, and have seen firsthand what makes this city special: our schools, our parks, and neighbors who give their time to keep our community thriving. Now it's my turn to give back. My top priority is making sure we spend wisely and keep our budget strong. As an office manager, I've had to make tough choices with limited resources, experience I'll bring to council. Just as important, I'll strengthen communication. I'll share how I vote and why. I'll be accessible because trust is built through openness and accountability. My approach is judicious, careful with spending, cautious with short-term rentals, and committed to keeping Berkley affordable for families. Together, we can keep Berkley moving forward. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting, and thank you for your dedication to Berkley's future. Now we'll begin the question segment of our forum. Most questions will have a 1-minute time limit, and we'll begin with Mr. Baker. I've heard most candidates speak about transparency. What is your opinion on the city's transparency, and what, if anything, would you do differently?
Well, transparency is the foundation of public trust, and thus far I'd give us a solid B in terms of our efforts. We have real progress, but there's a whole lot of work yet to do. We've improved access with the live streams, better online materials, and more outreach around planning and budgeting decisions. At the same time, residents deserve plain language financial information and clear summaries of the proposals and how that affects them. Transparency isn't just about sharing information, it's about making sure that people can understand and use that information to participate in decisions that matter to them. And if reelected, I will continue to work to improve that grade in our transparency, pushing for more proactive communication and simple budget summaries and outreach that ensures every resident gets the full story. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Elrod?
Yes, transparency is a foundation of everybody's campaign at this table today. The things that we need to do better are taking place. We are surveying our residents to find out the ways that they prefer to be communicated to. So we are already opening the doors to finding different ways to make sure people have access to the information that they need. It's just not posting PDFs online. We need to go further. We need to create the dashboards that make difficult to understand language, hard to follow financial figures, digestible and understandable to residents. This also helps us take some of the narrative that's happening online into the public spaces. We get the chatter away from people who want to interpret the data on their own and make people more informed by making them more educated with easy to understand tidbits.
Thank you. Mr. Hennon? Whoops. Yeah, Mr. Hennon.
Yes. I originally ran 8 years ago largely on a platform of transparency, and some of that trajectory, some of the things I've brought, budget materials on the website. The city publishes meeting previews and recaps, something I had been doing for 8 years myself. The meeting packets are released earlier. Our proposed ordinances are posted earlier. Large projects like the Columbia are shared earlier. Our ZBA meetings are recorded. Public signs on property so people know that a hearing is going to be held. Holding my regular office hours and giving one-on-one help to the community. So transparency is releasing the information, but also being out there, explaining it, helping people understand. And while we've come a long way, we do have more to go. We can make things easier, and as I've been progressing through my career, we've been continuing on that, and that is an area I continue to focus on.
Thank you, Mr. Stapp.
Yeah, thank you. So I think open, responsive, collaborative communication is foundational to any local government. And I think it leads to building trust with the community because they understand what local government is doing and why they're doing it. And it leads to accountability as well because the community can look back at the communications and say they told us what they were doing and why, and the results, followed from that. I think the city's doing a great job of taking steps towards transparency. There's a transparency committee. I think it was started last year. So I don't know if all the residents know about that, but that's something that was an initiative last year. And there's also more messaging going out. I think where we can improve, though, is messaging people in a way that they receive the information. So not a one-size-fits-all approach, but going different routes and trying to reach people in ways that they receive information. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next question, we're going to start with Mr. Elrod. Serving on city council takes a great deal of work and is a big time commitment. How would you or do you prepare for meetings to make sure you have informed decisions?
Well, a lot of that's going to come from resident input. So as part of the canvassing I'm doing to just engage with our neighbors, that is something that's critical to understand what the pulse of our city really is at. From there, I've also made arrangements with my day job. This is something that we probably all reconcile with so that they understand the time commitment I'm making. Before I made the announcement to run, this is something that I needed to work out so that my executive management understood the time commitment I am making for this city. And we have that agreement in place that I will require additional time away from work so that I can study packets, review data, and make sure that I am informed and representing the viewpoints that I hear and bringing those two pieces of data together to give the right representation for this city.
Thank you. Mr. Hennon?
Yeah. My preparation for the meetings starts well before the meetings. I spend hundreds of hours each year studying, learning, preparing. I'm president of the statewide Elected Officials Academy, where we train elected leaders with the skills that they need. So that education component, being prepared, is very important to me. And I'm in constant communication with staff to know what issues are coming up so that I'm not flat-footed when we get something. But when the packet does come, I spend the time, carefully review the materials, I ask questions, I'll go out to the site, like parking lots at 2 a.m., and I'll talk to those who will be most impacted. And so the meeting prep is not just the day the packet comes out, but it's continuous.
Thank you. Mr. Stapp?
Thank you. Yeah, I think making informed decisions starts with preparation. And I know in my time on the Planning Commission, I've learned that the packets vary from month to month, and you always want to review everything in the packet thoroughly well ahead of the meeting. You want to engage with residents. You want to hear what they're saying through community comments. You want to take into account how that's going to impact them and the community and overall. And then I think you also want to have an element of being able to forecast and look ahead, right? To make an informed decision, you have to be forward thinking and how your vote today will impact the city 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. So I think that's a big part of it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Baker?
City Council has been an amazing part of my life for the last 16 years. And my routine has evolved as the technology has become more readily available, carrying around the tablet with the stuff rather than big clumps of paper. But it all comes down to two pathways for me. There's the kinds of content that I bring to the table, have an idea, working with a resident to come up with something that they'd like to see happen. And then there's reacting and taking advantage of and moving forward with items that are on the agendas. So on the former, the things that I can bring to the table, I do homework, I do my research, I look around to see what the other communities have done, ask good questions, reach out to the MML, and then as I socialize that with staff and advisors, make sure that I'm open to questions, challenging questions to test my assumptions and things. When we do get the packets, and sometimes I'm involved in the agenda prep sessions, again, I review the materials that are available, I ask questions. I don't take it for granted that this is right. I look deeply into it and come prepared for a thoughtful conversation.
Thank you. The next question, we'll start with Mr. Hennon. And this is kind of a combination of two questions, but we had a couple questions on the same topic. What can the city do to make housing in Berkley more affordable? And what are your concerns about housing and the Columbia apartment project?
So affordable housing and attainable housing is something that I've been watching very closely. Part as my role as a board of trustees on the Michigan Municipal League, we're doing statewide initiatives to try and bring legislation that will bring more affordable housing. Locally, we've started projects policies that would incentivize attainable housing. And one of those is the Columbia. We are in negotiations now of what could be something that the average homeowner in Berkeley would be able to afford those apartments. So I feel that's an appropriate place, only on the corridors, not in the middle of residential. But that and other measures that we're continually looking at, continuing to add to our tool belt to help to bring that affordable housing here and make the incentives that we need to get that instead of the large houses that we've been seeing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stapp?
Yeah, I think affordable housing it's important for our community. It gives options to seniors who are looking to downsize. I think it brings in young professionals who are just starting out, who can contribute to the community. And I think it's a great option for families who want to live in Berkeley but can't afford a single-family home. And so I'm generally supportive of it, but I think the goal is to give people options without changing what makes Berkeley special, right? So it's got to be developed smartly. It's got to be done right. And if it is, it's going to be a welcome addition to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Baker?
Thank you. Lately, we've been using the expression workforce housing. It targets a specific income range that we feel is a critical gap in the options and choices that folks have as they look to either stay in Berkeley or come and join us here in Berkeley. And so there is a project underway, which is the Columbia, that seeks to address and fill that particular gap. We're very careful with these kinds of things because we want to make sure it has minimal disruption to the existing neighborhood, working with these just along corridors instead of inside of neighborhoods, and making sure that the infrastructure, the sewer, the electricity, all those kinds of things are built up rather than torn down to make space for all of this. It fills a core need that our community has to bring folks into Berkeley, to stay in Berkeley, to shop in Berkeley, to work in Berkeley, to go to school in Berkeley. And it's an important tool that we're looking at very carefully and very thoughtfully.
Thank you. Mr. Elrod?
This is near and dear to my heart. As I mentioned up front, my parents came to Berkeley in pursuit of that Berkeley bungalow dream. Unfortunately, we ended up in the only ranch house with a forward attaching garage, I think, that exists in the city. Shout out to Cambridge if you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But right now we find ourselves at an impasse. We have a number of residents who are going to be aging in place in their homes, and we cannot control the economics behind what developers are going to do. We can look at creative ways and potentially zoning or building in some type of policy that keeps corporate owners from getting involved in purchasing properties. They're beating first-time home buyers with all cash offers and then looking at those residences that weren't upkept so that they can turn them into a big-footed lot. As for the Columbia, I was initially opposed, but once I learned that the Michigan Economic Development Council got involved to help close that missing middle, I have more faith that that project is right for building diversity in housing for the city, and I'll close with that.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start the next question with Mr. Stapp. What is your position on open access to all books in our library?
I'm generally supportive of open access to all books in the library. I think, giving people choices and supporting the various interests in our community, it creates a feeling of inclusivity, and I think that's welcome in a community like Berkeley, where we can celebrate our differences, celebrate our interests, celebrate, what makes us unique and special. So I'm generally supportive. Thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Thank you. I am very much in support of providing access to information, to literature, books, comics, things that speak to our wonderfully diverse community. The library is one of our gems, and I think to help keep that gem shining, it's our responsibility to ensure that the materials that folks want is available. There may be a book that someone doesn't necessarily find to be their cup of tea, so to speak, but that's great because it's probably somebody else's, and by you not checking it out, you're leaving it there for them. I think the notion of censorship and pulling away books is harmful to the community. It's harmful to the spirit of the community. It hurts people, and that's not what Berkley is about. We care, and our library does too.
Mr. Hennon? Oops. Oh, sorry, Mr. Elrod?
I don't feel slighted. Thank you.
I will make 3 mistakes tonight, so that.
I will too. So this is a tentpole of my campaign. The library is something that I would absolutely protect, and I would die on that hill if somebody would challenge access to information. I believe that the library is becoming the hub of information that our civilization is actually going to be backboned on as our digital lives continue to misinform us and divide us. Now, that being said, I understand not everybody in the community shares the same values and principles, so I did make a pledge to listen. We are likely not going to agree on this one, but again, this is something that is near and dear to my heart, and protecting access to information at the library is questioning that as a non-starter for me.
Okay, Mr. Hennon.
Yes, the information at the library absolutely should be open and available to all. There may be parental concerns, but that is for the parent to deal with. And then those that wish to censorship often backfires, almost always backfires. It draws attention to the very thing you're trying to squash. So I am fully in support of the library and making all information available.
Thank you very much. We're going to start this one with Mr. Baker. How do you keep your personal biases and views from influencing your decisions on the council?
Well, let me just start by saying local elections are nonpartisan, and although I do have personal opinions, just like we talked about a moment ago with books, I know how I feel and react, but I know that I'm not everybody in Berkeley, and that's a good thing. Having a diversity of experiences with different kinds of topics, and sometimes having a passionate position on that only helps me better understand that others may have similar positions or opposite positions. And the funny thing is, none of that matters in Berkeley. The pothole doesn't care what party you're from. The splash pad doesn't care what party you're from. We're all here to help provide these kinds of things for the city. So I do have opinions and thoughts on things, and I also know my place. I know where I am as a citizen, where I am as a council member, and those don't mix. We are here to serve the city and make sure that we move forward things that help all of us to feel more inclusive and celebrate our diversity.
Thank you. Mr. Elrod?
Simply put, national politics and personal ideology have no place in these chambers. This is about local issues that deserve local solutions. So that is my position. I too go home and have strong ideas and debates with friends who share differences or the similar opinion, but I am running to protect this chamber from any influence from people's personal beliefs, and to reinforce that as part of my candidacy, I'm trying to build bridges with people who nationally are not going to agree with each other. I'm making sure that they understand that the partisanship that we're all facing, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, cannot be something that influences the decisions we make here. Roads, infrastructure, green space, housing. We could go on, but I will close.
Thank you. Mr. Hennon?
Yes. This is an area I've fallen short in the past, but from it I've learned, and careful reflection, listening, and I'm very mindful of the role I play, and a large part of it is to make sure everyone feels protected, safe, and are treated with respect and dignity. At the same time, as we've heard, most of the issues that we have are nonpartisan. The pothole doesn't care what party you're from. I like that line. And most of the issues, the vast majority of issues, just are your regular nuts and bolts, day in, day out. But I am careful and mindful to make sure that I check my personal beliefs and am working to represent the people of Berkeley.
Thank you. Mr. Stapp.
Yeah, one of the greatest things about running for council and the position is that it is nonpartisan, I think, because that allows us to kind of leave party politics behind us and focus on the issues that matter locally here in Berkeley, to each other, to your neighbor, to your friend. And like Mr. Baker said, I don't think anyone cares if they call an ambulance at 2 o'clock in the morning, who sends it, right? As long as it shows up. And that's really what it's about. It's about being dependable, not having personal bias or party politics lead you, but just doing what's best for the community and the residents that you're serving. Because at the end of the day, this position is to further, the interests of the city. Thank you.
Okay. Next question, we'll start with Mr. Elrod. I just returned to Berkeley after 11 years in the Philly area. I love the improvements I have seen. As a senior who uses the community center, what is your vision for improvements there?
So I want to take another run at getting funding for a new community center with additional recreation opportunities that will allow our Parks and Rec department, which is doing an excellent job with programming both for seniors and families, to expand those services. And I think it's possible this time, given the narrow defeat the last time we put this forward in front of the voters, is that with the school bond allowing them to move forward with the field house, they'll have a abundance of facilities for students to use, but this is a time to reach across and say to the district, if we go ahead with building the community center, can we start to think about ways that we can have our residents access school facilities such as gyms, pools, and such. And then while we move forward with the recreation or community center, we can continue to build something for the future.
Mr. Hennon.
Yes. Right now, we're in the midst of our Parks and Recreation Master Plan, and part of that is outreach to the community to see what they want, especially in a community center. If you haven't taken that survey yet, please do, so we know the direction that people want to go. Then, armed with that information, we'll be able to make a plan, design, determine what funding would be necessary to build, what it would cost to operate, and then see if that is within our means, if we need to make an ask for the voters. But one thing I'm looking at is perhaps a phased approach where we add incrementally onto the existing building, and so that we build up over time, but in a financially responsible way, so that we start to add those amenities that I know many of us are looking for.
Thank you. Mr. Stapp.
Yeah, quite frankly, our community center it's not up to par, right? And there's room for improvement there. Like Mr. Hennon said, there's an update to the Parks and Rec Master Plan currently going on. They have a survey open to October 12th. They have public engagement sessions where you can show up and give your opinion on what you'd like to see in the master plan. And for me personally, that's what I want to see in there for the Parks and Rec Master Plan, is a focus on updating and maintaining the community center, making that something that our residents can be proud of, that they can frequent and go to, where they're not going to have to worry about maybe tripping while they walk in or, a faulty AC. So I would like to see a focus on that in the Parks and Rec Master Plan, and hopefully we can bring it up to some of the other great city services that we have in Berkeley. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Thank you. First of all, welcome back. I'm glad that you're here. Residents love our parks, but they continually comment on the status and condition of our facilities, in particular the community center. We need more spaces to gather, recreation options, and year-round programs. To me, this is more than just a building. This is about building community and strengthening our connections as a city. The input is most welcome as we crack open the master plan for its 5-year annual refresh. And if reelected, I certainly will push to revisit the community center as a key priority for the community, and make sure it's shaped by the resident input, and it meets our financial opportunities, and delivers the kinds of services and facilities that our residents need and deserve.
Thank you. The next question, we will begin with Mr. Hennon. If elected, what 3 steps would you take to put Berkley on a firmer financial footing?
Well, I first challenge the thought that we aren't on a firm financial footing. Our budgets are balanced. We follow all the state and laws and general accounting practices, but things are tight. So we do have, and I will be honest to admit, we had a finance team that for a while was sloppy. It was not that they were misappropriating funds or that money was misused, but we now have an entirely new staff. We are on the road to correcting those, and we'll be making more clear budgets. We will be fulfilling our audit obligations, and just simply making the information more easily understood so that people can know and have trust in what their government is doing and how we're spending the money.
Thank you. Mr. Stapp?
Yeah, I echo Mr. Hennon's sentiments about being on a good footing. I think there are ways that we could promote more confidence within the community, and I think one of those is more active community engagement and planning ahead. So engaging residents earlier in the process. I think that would be one way to sort of foster, favorable sentiment and confidence from them in what's happening, is if they have more time to review documentation and information from the city. And then I think clearer messaging. It's reaching people how they receive information, right? So, maybe me and my neighbors, we like social media information, whereas our neighbor across the street might want something mailed to them to read, to get information. So I think giving people information how they receive it and intake it is important to building confidence. And then planning ahead for compliance audits and things like that, so that we adhere to what we need to.
Thank you. Mr. Baker?
Thank you. I too am here to say that Berkley has and will always have a balanced budget. We are required to do so by law, and some of the confusion that has emerged in previous cycles is indeed due to misinformation and some issues that we had in the former finance department. Through our leadership, that we took care of those issues and have a crack team in place now that all signs are looking really good for this. So I'd like to offer up, instead of 3 things to get us back on footing, 3 things to help us work with our residents to better understand where we're at and see the changes. And so, of course, one of those is a more continuous and regular interaction with our residents, our fellow neighbors, to talk about where we're at, to include them in the conversation much earlier and along the way. Second is to make more of that information available on the website and other channels through mail and email and flyers and things, so that they can understand what's going on in clear language. And third, to be there to listen and help answer questions. When folks walk down the hall and stuff, we want to be able to talk with them and say, here's what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Elrod?
So benchmarking against some of our similar sized cities, Ferndale, Clawson, Hazel Park, you'll see that we are in line for a city of our size in terms of budget strength, our commitments to our retirement programs. So I too would challenge the notion that we have some type of crisis. The leadership has been put in place, and this is another pivotal reason why I'm running, because I have confidence in the new city leadership that we have chosen the right personnel and the city manager to take us forward. That being said, coming from a business background, we didn't get into many details about what I do for a living, but maybe in the closing remarks, one simple thing I can share is a line-by-line detailed review of every expenditure, aligning people-first services, and always exploring shared services where possible. So is there a way that we can use existing services within Berkeley and get fees from our surrounding cities.
Thank you. The next question, we're going to start with Mr. Stapp. And we're going to go with a theme of 3 again. What are 3 priority issues facing Berkeley, and how would you address them?
I think it depends who you ask. I think in my conversations with residents, they would say the budget as number 1 predominantly. I don't know that would be one of my major focuses, other than what I just talked about, ensuring that there's engagement and proper messaging and that we're in compliance. I think infrastructure is one of the bigger ones that I've heard from residents I've talked to as well. There's still our basements flooding. There's still, issues with sewers and drainage and things like that. So I think pushing an emphasis on, green infrastructure and things that can improve our infrastructure would be good. And then I think the third one is maintaining city services. I would like to put out more messaging to residents on the things that the city offers that they may not be aware of, that new residents might not be aware of, like the lead line program. And I think that starts with messaging. Thank you.
Thank you. Going back to Mr. Baker.
That's me. Thank you. Let's see. Well, I think the notion of misinformation is something that is going to be with us for a while. And as we've talked about earlier, the notion of having greater transparency and more clear communication will really help us to at least make it more evident when something that isn't quite true is being spread through social channels. Second opportunity is with the roads and sewers, our infrastructure. I mentioned before about those potholes not being party aligned. Neither are our sewers or the streets themselves. That continues to require ongoing investment to maintain those across our 56 linear miles. And finally, our Parks and Recreation deserves some additional amenities and services to help our residents enjoy. And of course, maintain the excellent public safety rating that we have. We were just assessed as the 5th safest city in the state of Michigan, and that's in gratitude to the work of our fine folks in public safety. And so we want to make sure that that stays valid, and they have the tools they need to continue that strong record. Thank you.
Mr. Hennon.
Oh, here.
Oh,
That's
I
2.
did it again. See?
That's okay. You get
Checking you off
you
too
get
soon.
You get 3.
Hopefully
So
not you.
I'm going to echo many of these things. It's been infrastructure, primarily roads. If you've followed me online at all, that is the one common denominator between everybody I talk. Tell me what's going to happen with my road when it's going to happen. There's also continued concern about stormwater, sewage. Everybody still fears about the basement flooding. We've talked about green infrastructure, which, by the way, the easiest thing you can do today is sign up for a street tree on your easement. They're free from DPW. Building our canopy out is one of the easiest ways to mitigate stormwater and keep us from having flooded basements. The third concern, I'm going to bring it up because so many people I knocked on the door would call me out for not saying it, is figure something out for Coolidge. I say that with a groan. A lot of people have been concerned about the road diet. It's not a big concern of mine, but I'm echoing what I've heard from the people.
Thank you. Mr. Hennon.
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. What are 3 of the priority issues facing Berkeley, and how would you address them?
Right. So the number 1 issue I think facing the city is infrastructure. It was built up largely with federal and state funding, but now it's time to repair and rebuild, and that money has dried up, and we're, like all Michigan municipalities, left on our own. So I have already started us on the path of inventorying what we have, what will it cost to repair it, to keep it perpetually in a good condition, so that we can then make the plan for what sort of revenue streams we need to just keep those basic services. The second thing we need to continue to improve is our amenities. We've talked about the the community center, but we need to not just have the basic services, but a place that people want to live, and so that they will continue to come here and be attracted and be that tax base. And part of that, which we've also hit on tonight, is the affordable housing piece. They need to not only be able to want to move here, but be able to move here, and we need to continue to fill those gaps.
Thank you. We'll start with Mr. Baker. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process here in Berkeley? And not just the ones you agree with.
Oh, thank you, especially those that that I don't necessarily agree with, because I always learn in those kind of conversations. Everybody has a point of view. They usually come from some form of foundation there, and it's really cool to learn more about how other people see things. Involving residents is second nature to me. I love getting out, talking with people, scheduled conversations, the impromptu, bump into them at the grocery store kind of thing. It's great that, the council meetings are broadcast, and people will say, "Hey, I saw you guys on TV." So, man, you must have a sleeping problem or something. But it's fun that folks will come up and comment on what we just talked about in the last meeting or before that, and they have good perspectives. As we think about things that are coming ahead of us in the future agendas, I have folks that I reach out to, and I encourage anyone to reach out to me so that we can talk about what the item is on the agenda, what we can do about it, and the ways in which it will either benefit or potentially harm the city, because we don't always vote yes on everything. So communication through multi-channels, phone, email, text, handshakes, those are great ways to stay in touch, and I enjoy those very much.
Thank you. Mr. Elrod.
Yes, opening up all avenues of communication. We talked about the survey that the city has issued and the number of ways that they're exploring and increasing the ways that we communicate and the types of messaging we provide. So in that respect, I definitely agree. I don't want to prematurely burden everybody up on stage with the idea that I believe in expanding the ability to volunteer in the city is very part and parcel to getting people to feel included and heard. Now, that does mean there's a commitment from city council and staff to show up to those meetings, but that gives someone an opportunity to say, I don't think I'm heard, or I'm online and I'm in an echo chamber and the city doesn't seem responsive. Get involved. We'll open the doors and create the pathways for you to participate in the city and allow your voice to be put into public minutes. I think that is the best way forward.
Mr. Hennon.
Yeah, so I'm often known as the guy on Facebook, and that comes with its blessings and its curses. But I'm go to where the people are and listen to them. But also, and so people will reach out to me and ask questions, and I'm there to try and learn, but also to educate. But I know social media isn't always necessarily real life. I have my own newsletter to educate people. I regularly, for 8 years, have held office hours to invite members of the public to come and discuss their concerns and ask their questions. And if there's a specific issue, I will seek out residents. For example, at the Columbia, I went door to door flyering to invite them to share their thoughts with me before we had the vote. We continue surveys. If you got the recent text message surveys, I was the one that was able to bring that to the city for free of charge as we prototype that. And if you ever have questions, please ask them. We're here. We want to help you know. Don't leave wondering. Just ask us and we will let you know.
Mr. Stapp.
I think if my marriage has taught me anything, it's that a happy marriage starts with listening. And I think that's probably what good government starts with, too. I think one of Berkeley's strengths is how engaged our residents are. They want to be involved in decisions. They want to be involved with local government and the things that are happening in the community. So I think ensuring residents feel that their voices are heard is only beneficial to the city, and it helps create a bond, that the residents feel included in what's going on in the city and that they're aware of how it impacts them. And I think publicizing, public sessions at accessible times and providing materials on major decisions within the city are just another way that the city could go or make progress with keeping residents engaged. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Elrod, we'll start this next question for you. Do you think Berkley needs to increase parking as more shops and restaurants open in Berkley?
It's a difficult discussion. So the knee-jerk reaction is absolutely, but we are a dense city and we need to come up with alternative solutions while looking for creative ways to add parking. This could be adaptive reuse along our business corridors, similar to what's going to happen at the Columbia, where we have first on-ground parking, but also like the townhomes on 12 Mile. Looking for creative ways. I know those are more residential focused, but also mixed use, so where we have commercial space, residential space, finding ways to incorporate ground level parking, but also continuing to make the city more walkable. And right now we have an attractive downtown. I just want to make sure that we are listening to residents who don't want both sides of the street parking, but they are seeking for ways to both continue to keep the city walkable, but also allow their friends and family to join us in this community.
Thank you. Mr. Hennon?
Yeah. Berkeley is rare among cities in that all of our commercial properties abut residential. And so anytime we deal with parking for a business, it's dealing with parking for residential. So we have looked at techniques such as a zoning overlay, parking overlay, which would allow expansion of parking easily for developers, but only if the resident abutting that property would choose to give up their parcel. And there's lots of safeguards to make sure there's additional buffering between the new parking lot and residential. So we're building techniques to try and do that. We're always analyzing different things out there, tools to try and build up our parking, but it's a difficult situation. And we have the issue with the parking on two sides. It's something that staff have reevaluated. They're bringing back their recommendations to us. We'll see what they have and see what we can do to help ameliorate the problems.
Mr. Staff?
Yeah, I think Berkeley faces unique challenges with parking, just given our city structure and how we're laid out with our unique downtown. And we want to be inclusive and invite investors in to facilitate progress in our city, but we also want to be mindful of keeping our character, right, and what makes Berkeley. So it's not feasible for us to throw up a parking garage or that's 5 stories in a neighborhood, right? We have to be creative, and I think one of the best ways that we could move forward with that is shared parking agreements and having the city collaborate with businesses where there's already parking, right? And lots that are underutilized, and potentially working out an agreement where we can share parking. We can utilize parking at different hours to provide more spaces for people to come into the city and keep them out of the neighborhoods and where residents are. Thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Thank you. A couple of quick thoughts on this. There's the on the downtown and more of the public space kinds of things. There are new zoning opportunities that we've worked through with the recent refresh that do open up opportunities for additional parking within the space that we have. As mentioned, the Columbia has first floor parking, so it doesn't take up any additional footprint in our downtown. And Berkeley has a walk score of 76. And so I think we have both the parking problem and a walking problem. In certain situations, there's a shop you want to go to, and there's a large parking lot a block away. And so I think it's upon the city to do a better job with wayfinding and making those opportunities known to folks who want to park there, then they can walk to not just the one shop, but 2 or 3 others while they're around. On the residential side, there's state and federal safety guidelines on the safe amounts of width that a street can have. And if we were to strictly follow those, we'd actually have no on-street parking anywhere because our roads are just too narrow. So we're doing a careful balance to ensure that we have parking on at least one side of the street,
Thank you.
sometimes twice.
Thank you very
wherever
much.
we can. Thank you.
Okay, next question, we'll start with Mr. Hennon. What are one or two things you have done in the past 2 years to show support for our LGBTQ plus community members? Mr. Hennon?
So, yes. No. I have worked to listen with compassion and make sure people are treated fairly, respectfully, with dignity. Our annual Pride Proclamation, I have been able to vote for 8 years because it is about making sure that our LGBTQ community and all of our residents are treated with the respect and dignity that they deserve, and that the government does not interfere with their activities, their lives, and so on.
Thank you. Mr. Stepp?
Yeah, I think celebrating, what makes people different and, bringing people together in an inclusive way is what makes Berkeley, Berkeley. So some of the things that I've done in the last, just a few months is attend the local festivals, the community events during Pride Month. As part of my professional career, I've partnered with schools and civic organizations to promote inclusivity, which includes LGBTQ individuals. And I think it's important to make everyone feel welcome, to let them know that even if we're different, even if we don't agree on certain aspects of our lives, that we're tolerant and we're welcoming, and we want that diversity in our city because it makes our city better. Thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Thank you. Berkeley is a community of families, seniors, longtime residents, and newcomers, and each deserves to feel that the city serves them fairly and with dignity. Among many other things, I was a strong advocate right up front early in the process for the Pride Block Party. I'm the liaison to the Downtown Development Authority, and so I was in at the ground floor with some of the initial discussions and planning to make that first event happen. And in addition, the city has recently gone through a strategic framework planning process, which is going to set the foundations for a more robust strategic plan. Early and often in those discussions, I advocated for DEI policies to be made at the city level and to ensure that the kinds of decisions that we make take into consideration all of our residents and all of the needs and opportunities that they bring. I think DEI is not just a checklist item, but it's a value that we live out. And I want to ensure again that our policies, events, and services reflect the full spirit of Berkeley.
Thank you. Mr. Elrod?
Can you just repeat the question? I think this is about our personal.
Yeah, what is one or two things that you have done in the last 2 years to show support for our LGBTQ plus community members?
So in this regard, I'm going to show a shortfall. I thought being a friend and a family member to members of the community was doing enough, but just like my civil service, I was in the red. I've enjoyed the camaraderie of going to several different Pride festivals and being hosted at Movement and being with relatives and again friends who are all part of the community. It's been a learning experience for me. It's also something that I should be more active in. So the way I would answer that is right now, besides being a friend and an ally, I have not been active enough, and this is something that I can improve in my life.
Okay, we got one more question here, and it's kind of a combined question from a couple of things here, and we'll start with Mr. Stepp. What community or volunteer activities are you most proud of, and what is your background, and how will it help to serve this community?
Okay. Let me make sure I got it.
Yeah, so they're looking for,
First, community and volunteer activity, and then
your
second,
background. That-
professional background. Okay, I think they're intertwined, so maybe I can combine the answer here. As part of my professional background as an attorney, I'm on our firm's DEI committee, right? So as part of that, I get to do a lot of things within the community and support initiatives outside of work. One of those being, we had a lawyers who look like me program in coordination with some charter schools in Detroit, which was a great event, and it kind of helped. It's very powerful, I think, to show young people especially kind of mirror images of themselves in the future. If somebody who's a child can look at somebody who's a professional and say, oh, that person looks like me, they can envision themselves then being in those shoes or pursuing those goals when they're older. So things like that, I have a passion for. My family personally we're a mixed bag. So I'm Hispanic, my wife is Arabic, and our daughter is black. So those kinds of things are near and dear to my heart.
Baker?
Thank you. Let's see, as far as community events go, there's so many to choose from, right? The Berkley Pride Block Party that we talked about. I absolutely love Berkley and all the work that goes into that every month for that full month. It's fantastic. My background, master's degree in software engineering with follow-up studies at the Harvard Kennedy School. I married an art teacher, so I live in a union household. And I think having been on council for 16 years now has brought me some additional experience in ways that I can continue to serve the city. For a day job, it's no secret I work for the utility, a DTE, and so I get to go solve problems at work all the time, and then come here and help solve problems too. So I love that kind of stuff. Very committed to this. As I mentioned earlier, I have my stepdaughter's in the high school, and just loving seeing her flourish, and so I can relate as a parent as well.
Mr. Elrod?
From a volunteering standpoint, right after the pandemic, I threw myself headfirst into applying for every board. Dennis knows he had to take all my phone calls and applications. Eventually landing on Tree Board and Beautification Advisory Committee. And I know they're not the meatiest, but they are things that have visual, tangible impact in our community. They're shovel in the ground type of projects that we run every day. I started with the notion that I was going to be that labor arm, and then it turned into being asked to lead. So secretary for the Tree Board and now chairperson for Beautification Advisory Committee. Again, that harkens back to being able to expand volunteership opportunities for everyone if elected. Quick thing about my personal history, I told Steve earlier that when I talk about it, people's eyes roll in the back of their head. It's B2B marketing, 25 years in doing sales and marketing related activities for up to $1 billion publicly traded companies down to I currently work for a 30-person software company. So, varied experience.
Mr. Hennon?
From my professional experience, I have degrees in math, a master's in computer science, and work as a software engineer fighting banking fraud. So I'm out there looking for the bad guys and trying to stop them. But in community service here in Berkeley, I started, and in my previous community, I started on the other side of the podium in grassroots work, working to protect the residents, protect our neighborhoods, and continue that trajectory once I moved into elected office, and continue to follow and try and protect our small town feel that we have. But I also consider as almost a second career the state leadership that I'm involved with, organizations such as the Michigan Municipal League, that give me connections and opportunities to both advocate for the city of Berkeley and also to bring resources to us that we otherwise might not have.
Thank you. That concludes the time we have for questions. The candidates will now be given 1 minute to make a closing statement in reverse order of the opening statements. We will begin with Mr. Stapp.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you again to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum and inviting us to participate and share a dialogue on the issues that that our residents care about. To me, Berkeley is a community where neighbors look out for each other. They put down roots. They take pride in calling it home. And I think while we face challenges, our greatest strength is that spirit of connection with the residents. So my vision for Berkeley is to build on that strength, to keep lines of communication open between the city and the residents that we serve, to make our services more reliable for the residents that need them, and to plan wisely for our future. I'm excited about what's possible when residents and city leaders work together, and I'd love to bring that spirit of collaboration and optimism to the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hennon.
A couple of months ago, my wife said, "I wish people could see how much time you spend and how hard you work for them." And that's what I hope came through tonight. I show up, do the homework, and get results for Berkeley. We've strengthened the budget, made city communication clearer so neighbors get straight answers, and tackled the basics: safety, service, and infrastructure. And even when we don't see eye to eye, we've learned to treat each other with honor and respect. But there's still more to do. We need to finish our long-term planning and secure sustainable funding for our future needs. And what I bring is simple: open communication, smart spending, and strong services, all while protecting Berkeley's small-town feel. Thank you to the League and everyone watching. I'm Dennis Hennon, and thank you for your support.
Thank you. Mr. Elrod.
Thank you also to the League of Women Voters one more time for hosting this and giving us the opportunity to talk. I thought through a number of different ways to close tonight. And really it comes down to not doubling down on my background, how much I've volunteered. It's really that I'm still out there listening. So the one thing I want to leave you with is we're out there knocking doors every day. We're out there learning how we can earn your vote. So while we talk about communication in a future sense, how we're going to improve it from a city standpoint, I think we all share that goal. I'm out there asking you, please answer the door, please talk to me, please share what your views are, and let me know how I can earn your trust.
Thank you. Mr. Baker.
Thank you also to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum, and thanks to all of you for being here, for listening, for asking questions, and for being engaged in this process. Over the past 16 years, I have been honored to serve to help bring about projects like the Coolidge Highway Safety Program, the bringing electric vehicle chargers to the city, and ensuring balanced budgets each and every year. Beyond Berkeley, I have represented our city on the Michigan Municipal League Board of Trustees, and I was humbled to receive their Sinclair Award for exceptional service. I believe Berkeley's best days are ahead of us. Together we can strengthen our neighborhoods, support our businesses, and transparently budget and invest in the services and spaces that make our city such a special place. I'm grateful for the trust that you've placed in me over the years, and I look forward to continuing to serve, to listen, and to work with you to keep Berkeley moving forward. And please hug somebody you love. Thank you.
Thank you. The League of Women Voters would like to thank the audience, the candidates, and CMNtv for making this forum possible. For further nonpartisan information on these candidates and the rest of your ballot, visit vote411.org. The rebroadcast times of this forum will be on the LWVOA website, and the League of Women Voters is funded by contributions from concerned businesses and citizens. Our membership is open to women and men over the age of 16. This presentation is copyrighted 2025 by the League of Women Voters and can only be shown in its entirety. All rights are reserved. Remember, early voting starts October 25th, or you can vote at your precinct on November 4th. Democracy is not a spectator sport. Thank you and good night.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
we have teams. So you're only competing against your own group. And it's just a great expression. And that's part of what David Zinn talks about, is that when we're kids and we express ourselves through art, and as we get older, we express ourselves a lot of times through words and not through art. And we want to continue the expression through art. There's